Hi, it's Charlie Thorburn here from Mordor Gun Dogs. I'm here this week with Dan, and Dan is one of our trainers here, and we're going to do a little meet and greet with Dan, just so you can get to know him, so that you know who the workhorses are behind the operation here at Mordor. So Dan, welcome to Mordor Gun Dogs. So Dan, tell us a bit about you and how you came to be about here. Like, where did you grow up? When did you find out that you love dogs? What other sort of weird and wonderful things have you done work-wise and things before you became a dog trainer? Because often people say to me, oh, I really want to become a dog trainer. And how did you get started? And everyone you speak to's got different things they've done before. So
I was born in Nottingham and I grew up in Lincolnshire because we moved there when I was about 10. And I lived in a place called Huttoft, and next door neighbour had two German short-haired pointers that I really liked, and he used to let me take them out because I was quite intrigued what he could do.
this is when you were like a teenager?
About 18, 19, yeah.
Oh, yeah, so a bit older. Okay, fine.
He let me take them out. He goes, oh, you can take them out, take the whistle, take the leads, they'll be fine for you. Just go into the field.
And were they gun dogs or just pets?
No, they were gun dogs.
Okay.
Proper gun dogs. And they were just like, as you can imagine, doing everything you'd want them to do. And I was just quite obsessed with it at that point.
Were they good dogs? I mean, were they like...
Yeah.
Like we would have them, like Ash's dog.
Yeah, they stopped.
Really good, stopping on a whistle. And
hundreds of yards away.
so he'd done a lot of training, so it was kind of an interesting experience.
Yeah, and it was just very... From that point, I was just like, oh, it's really intriguing and obsessive kind of thing. I just thought, I would love to do that. And then I got my first German short-haired pointer from them two dogs themselves, they mated, and I was training that for a bit, but obviously I didn't really know a lot, to be fair. And then it just carried on through the years, getting more dogs, more pointers all the time until I started to get springers. And then I got Isla, and then I noticed a guy called Chris Upton putting videos online on YouTube, and he was showing those people how to train dogs from start to finish. And then I messaged him, so I noticed he had a student go down. Someone at the other them called Anagdi, I think her name was, and I just messaged him and said, oh, I wonder if I could go down. And he said, yeah, you can come down, stay on his caravan in his house. And he had all his dogs, took Ida with me. And we went out every single day training.
And how long were you there for?
I was there for a week.
Okay, so not long. Okay.
No.
Okay. And did you just help him clean the kennels and stuff and go out with him for free, or did you have to pay him?
No, I paid him.
You paid him?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we'd do the kennels, do the dogs in the morning, go out, train his dogs and Isla, and then we'd go to other places with loads of dogs, and I sometimes get out with him and his clients as well.
Okay, so while you were 18, 19 with the neighbour's dogs, and then you were in your 20s, because you're in your 30s now, right?
Yeah.
What were you doing? What were you doing with your life between the times of leaving school, messing around with the neighbour's dogs, and arriving here last year in 2023?
Yeah, so when I was younger, in my early 20s, I went travelled Europe, and I went to live in Australia. And then after that, I came home and I was working for a landscape company and did that for quite a few years. And that was in Lincolnshire still.
As a sort of just general dog's body labourer, doing whatever needed done. Laying slabs and cutting hedges and cutting grass.
That's it, exactly that.
Just anything that was going, kind of thing.
Yeah. Did that, and then I moved to Sheffield in 2018, and I was self-employed courier driver for Amazon for 3 or 4 years there. And then I came back to live in Lincolnshire for a bit. And then obviously that's when I applied here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you've done traveling around the world. You've done landscaping. You've done delivery driver. I think you were working for Every when you came.
Yeah.
When you came to work for me.
That's the last one I did. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the easy question then. What's your best job you've ever had?
This one, the one that I've wanted for years.
Yeah. So when did you decide you wanted to train dogs? Like, I know before you came here, you were doing like little lessons and helping people, like locally helping people out with their dogs and stuff. But when did you decide like that?
It was at the start of lockdown, really properly, where I went to learn with Chris, and when I went down there, that's what I really wanted. But it's just so hard getting to that point from when you really want to do it to actually doing it, and then obviously,
why is that? For
I just think because a lot of people nowadays can be dog trainers. They just put themselves online and just say that I'm a dog trainer, but to actually get the proper clients and do the proper job, you've got to have a lot of knowledge, and I just think it's so hard just to get yourself out there properly and put yourself out there.
Yeah, so do you think there's a bit of a kind of... Because you see a lot of courses being offered and things online, like people, send me X thousand pounds and become come and become a dog trainer. I'm like absolutely avidly think that was all a load of crap. And the reason I think it's a load of crap is because I think becoming a dog trainer is like becoming a plumber or a farrier or anything else. You've got to do a proper apprenticeship. But even more so, I feel like training dogs is the equivalent, like having an ability with dogs is like being able to sing. Okay, you can either sing because you're in tune or you can't. If you're tone deaf, Simon Cowell and his best team of gurus cannot make you a brilliant singer. If you go like Freddie, my son, who's got a good ear, you could take Freddie with a good ear and you could turn that into more with a lot of training. And so obviously some people need a lot of training, and someone like, I don't know, Susan Boyle just pitches up and flipping phenomenal. Like, they're all different. And then Taylor Swift is, I don't know, I don't even listen to her, but she's just got so much else going for her. But the point is, with dog training, it's like not everybody can become a dog trainer. No. You've got to I think you've got to have something, and then once you've got that something, i.e. an understanding of dogs and just a way with dogs, and then from there you'd have to do your apprenticeship, which is kind of I suppose what you sort of did a little bit with this other chap, and you've been doing here now for 8 months or 9 months or however long you've been here.
Yeah. And I think, obviously, because when lockdown started, you could even do like behavioural courses online for like however many weeks for like 50 quid. And it's like, you can't become a behaviourist if you've not actually come into contact with a dog.
No.
It's just, yeah.
It's not something you can learn in theory. I mean, we've all read, I'm sure you have as well. Like, I know that Ash and me have all read and everyone, previous people who worked with me who were good. We've read loads of books on gun dog training specifically, but also on...
I read some like Joe Irvin and Keith Edens and stuff.
Yeah, but also I've read like loads of other just pet dog training stuff, and I've done some of these courses just because I was interested. And Ben, who worked for me, he did one as well. Ben, who used to work for us for about 4 years and lived in the house that you live in. And he did one as well. But basically, we all came to the conclusion that you need to have you need to have practical experience. So you can't learn to become a vet or a doctor or whatever without actually rolling up your sleeves and getting involved. And I'd say a dog trainer, there's even less theory and even more practice because every single one is different.
Yeah.
Whereas with a heart surgeon, you say, well, that's the main artery and that's this and that's that. That's kind of the same across pretty much everybody, but every dog is so different, and the way and the problems that every dog has. That there are some that are pretty standard, but there's also loads that need changed. What are your long-term goals? So you've got Isla and you've got
River,
the little rat, as I call it.
She's great though.
She's a great little dog. She's just not as pretty as Isla or Lemon. So this is Dan's young dog, who's a little Springer, who's probably coming up a year. She's about a year old.
No, she's not a year till July.
Oh, is she not?
2 months away, yeah.
And she's a little Springer, like a little kind of slightly pointy nose, sort of field trial-y type Springer.
Yeah.
And Dan loves her to bits, and I'm just rude about it because I'm always, as I've probably said before, life's too short to have an ugly dog. And beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
She's beautiful.
So Dan thinks she's beautiful, exactly, which is all that counts. But what's your kind of goal with them? Because Isla's 6, and you've run a trial. So
I've had a trial awards. I've had Gun's Choice and an award with her in a trial. I'm going to run her again this year.
Like, do you have aspirations that you think she could be like more than that, or are you just using it as an experience, like in honesty?
I truly think she can win a trial. I don't know if she
a novice.
I think she's got it in her. I don't know about an open. That's going some. I think some of the dogs that you see nowadays from the people that have been doing it a long time.
But it's very much gun dogs that you're interested in. That's how you've come into it.
Yeah, and that's
and what about River? Like, would you like to keep her and like?
Oh, absolutely.
Turn her into
I think she's a
field trialing dog. Is that your kind of goal?
I think she can win. She's fast and flashy, and she's been really easy to train. I think if I just keep going, just take my time and not put too much pressure on her, I think she'll be great.
So how we work it here is that obviously everybody who comes here and works here wants to have their own dogs as well as our dogs. They normally come with their own dogs. So we quite often use your dogs and Ash's dogs in part of our demonstration teams, and then obviously they've got the ground and the access to do training and stuff here. and then you and Ash have been off and done a few tests and things.
Yeah.
Which is not something we necessarily do with our dogs. But as we've discussed, if there was a dog or two that Dan thought he was of ours that he thought he'd like to trial or test, which there is
Cookie, yeah.
a little red Labrador. We just have to. Dan is just trying to twist my arm to make sure I don't sell her to some American or something before he gets a chance to run that. So when you were looking to get into dog training and you realised that you felt like the same as us, which is doing an online course and setting yourself up as a dog trainer is a bit naff. What did you do next? Like, how did you find us? Did you go and ask other people for jobs?
Yeah, I messaged loads of people asking, and
what was the response? Up to you, Dan.
most of the times it was just a flat no.
And why do you think it was a no?
Just because I think, especially with like guys that have got, especially like field trial people, I think they probably only have enough dogs for themselves, so giving someone a job is totally different.
So are these just like guys who called themselves something gun dogs and actually were just, they had 3 kennels at the back of their house?
Yeah.
Because it's quite confusing that I see this. I get people coming up and they go, "Oh, I got my dog from so and so gun dogs," and you're kind of like, I mean, I might be being a bit arrogant. I probably am, but I feel like every other person calls themselves something gun dogs, and they've just got 3 dogs in their kennel and they go beating, or they do a bit of trialing or something.
Yeah, I did that, but even like the bigger scales, people that had massive kennels did it to them, and sometimes they wouldn't even reply, or it would just literally be like a no.
Yeah.
Like you sent an email about yourself and it just been down. That's all you get back, like just one word.
And how many did you sent?
Hundreds.
Really? So I don't love the fact that everyone said no to you, but I love the determination.
Yeah.
Like that, that's something that I'm a big fan of, because when I started my business training dogs, everyone said to me, "Oh, you can't do that. That's what gamekeepers do in their part time." So it made me want it to do it more. Yeah. And that whole kind of, if you knock on enough doors, someone's gonna say yes if you follow your dream enough. And that's kind of like anything, whether you're wanting to be Antonia's friend who won 2 Olympic gold medals rowing. She didn't just go, "Oh, this is quite hard, I'm gonna stop." She was like, I'm determined, keep going. And this is Heather Stanning. She's a pretty cool girl. We gave her a Labrador and she's called it Rio because that's where she didn't want to call it London.
One of his medal.
Yeah, exactly. And she's just doing that. She's just about to do the Marathon des Sables, which is the, marathon every day for
so many days.
20-something days, 26 days, I think.
Not for me.
It's a marathon a day for 26 days across the Sahara or something. I might have that completely wrong, but it's something like that. I had a friend of mine when I was younger who, when I was at uni, a good friend of mine, he did it. He also went up Everest, so you've got a kind of, it's a sort of type of person in that. And yeah, that's probably, from our point of view, from Antonio and my point of view, Dan exudes enthusiasm. And when he came to meet us, we were like, Antonio's only concern was Antonio was like, "Oh God, there's another one of you here," sort of like, "Let's go, let's do a million things." Anyway, good.
Well, yeah, it's funny you should say that, because about someone that said that to you for years. That people said that to me, like, "Oh, what you got to do with your life? Why don't you go to uni?" I'm just like, "No, I want to be a dog trainer." And that's what I kept saying.
So you've been saying this for since you were playing around with these pointers. Well, not quite.
At that point, I would probably want it then. It was probably later on,
but for about 4 years, you reckon? 4 or 5 years or more?
Probably 5 or 6 years, maybe.
Yeah. So a long time to.
Still a long time, because it's, especially when I used to watch videos every day, especially from my trainer Chris, who told me. I used to just watch his videos constantly and just help people with their dogs. And before I started charging people, I used to train them for free in the park, because he used to come up to me and go,
like Joe Wicks.
Yeah,
the Joe Wicks, the trainer. The personal, the PT guy who did in lockdown, was on the TV and things.
Oh yeah.
He used to go to the park in London and just offer to train people for free, and now suddenly he got famous. But I mean, he went. I think he started 8 years of. And do you know how many Joe Wicks? Yeah. I think it was 8 years of relentlessly going to Richmond Park or Hyde Park or something, and there with his yoga mats and offering people training and stuff. And then suddenly in lockdown, he became the guy getting all the kids off the sofa and the parents. And I mean, we did it here. We cleared our drawing room so that the whole team at Mordor could come into the drawing room and do like Joe Wicks on the TV at 9 o'clock in the morning. And now he's amazing. He's written books and he's done really, really well. But he's only got there because of that sheer determination. And countless other people would have given up and said, "Oh, it's not possible."
Yeah, but people that
it's just a mindset. So it's interesting you watched all Chris's videos, because one of the things. So Ash and I have just offered someone, as you know, Ash and I have just offered someone a job. Provisionally offered them a job. So watch this space. We might be interviewing them at some point. They came for a training weekend and really liked their young dog and their calm quietness, and they had that thing I was talking about. You could just see, we feel like they had that ability with dogs, and just very calm and natural with the dog. And so, you know, that just sort of happened across a kind of thing. But I think, you know, one of the things we've said is if we wanted people to, like, if people approached us wanting a job, because ultimately we're always going to find a job for the right person. If there's someone really good, we're going to find them a job. Even if it means I have to eat bread and butter for 6 months, which probably wouldn't do me any harm. But one of the stipulations I think now is if someone comes for an interview, "Oh yeah, I really want to work for you. Have you watched the videos?" "Oh, I've watched one or two out the window. I watched all of them 10 times. You're like, right, you're obsessed enough.
Yeah.
And that's not from like an egotistical point of view. That's more just it shows that you really, like, Ash just goes home on his days off and sits watching dog training videos. And he sends me links like, "Oh, you should have a look at this one, or you should have a look at this." It's like, Ash, you need to go home and like do something else. I forced him to do some gardening the other day, I think. Lauren did with some jobs in the garden. But yeah, just something that's not dog related. But I think
if someone comes to you, because obviously even before I came in, I scoured your website, and
you got to know, like,
I do.
and when you came, we'd only literally just started our videos, But one of our sort of stipulations is everyone who works here has to watch the video. So Dan, you have to watch it.
When Perizone was coming the other day, I said to him, "Go over your sat," and she went, "Why?" Because I said, "You just asked me if this dog is waffle," and it was tartan.
Oh, right.
Have you been watching the video?
We've been watching the videos, yeah.
And then she said, "Is it sausage?" I was like,
"Oh dear." Related to both, though.
Yeah.
So I think it's that it's you know, you've got to be really kind of committed.
to people that give up that will never get what they want.
No, but also you got to kind of become a dog. There aren't that many dog training jobs. Like, you look online and it's like, I want to be a dog trainer. There really aren't many.
Especially to work with gun dogs, you can't really do a course with it. I know you can do a kennel club scheme. Like, I don't know if specifically you might be able to do one on there, but
yeah, but I've seen the kennel clubs.
But like we said,
I'm gonna get lynched. I give them enough money that they're not gonna de-kennel club me or whatever. But because I spend thousands of pounds a year with them. But I know I've had so many dogs come here who are like, "Oh yeah, we've got our kennel club gold."
Yeah.
Bollocks. And it's like, the dog can't even sit and stay, and someone's giving you a certificate from the kennel club. It's just a load of, it's like, you know, actually one of the things that really bothers me that I think the kennel club need to like up their game. They need to become like a bit more of a kind of governing body, both in breeding standards and in training and stuff. And if they're going to do a certificate, it should be done by, you know, it should be really held accountable, and the dog really should have to pass, not just done by some like Tim Pot trainer or something.
Yeah, because obviously the trials are held by the kennel club too.
Yeah. So they've got like these standards, but it's like they don't run it across the board, which is kind of annoying, because it's kind of like us going, "Oh yeah, so we health test all of our dogs, and we have done for years, but oh yeah, we didn't bother health testing that one or that one, and oh yeah, that one failed its eye exam." It'd just be like, well, you're either doing it or you're not doing it.
Yeah, like we said before, and like my training Chris used to always say, it's like 10,000 hours, isn't it, before you can actually...
Yeah, well, it's quite a common... Yeah, that's... I love that, that thing of 10,000 hours to become a true expert. I was laughing with Ash the other day. I mean, I've got 10,000 hours of poop scooping experience, so I'm like, I've got multiple 10,000 hours at some of this stuff. But, yeah, and the other thing is the other one I read the other day, which was really interesting, is if you put in 100 hours a year, which is 18 minutes a day at something, you will be in the top 5%.
That's interesting.
So, and if you think about it from like fitness or running or something, you know, you came here and felt like you're a bit overweight, and I mean, none of us really thought so, but you've been going to the gym and stuff, and you haven't done every day, but you've probably averaged out about 18 a day, and it's paid off. And you're now taking my son Freddie running, Freddie's a good little cross-country runner.
Yeah.
So a couple of times a week they go running, and it's about 30 minutes. It's not quite 18 minutes a day, but it's like,
yeah.
But it's that kind of like, you know, when people say to us, oh, how do you get the dogs to walk to heel so well? Because we just do 18 minutes a day of it or whatever.
just take
that's you just spend that time. And if you don't spend the time,
It's what they see behind the scenes.
yeah, then you don't spend the time, you don't get it. And we've, and I've, we've talked about this recently because you, me, and Ash and the others, like how I'm doing more of this sort of, YouTube stuff and actually get less time with my dogs to train them, and I've had to, pass on some of my dogs to Dan and some of the others because it's just I'm not going to be able to commit the time to them. If you're not going to commit to the time to them, you're doing them an injustice.
Yeah.
So, anyway, good. I think that's quite a good length, isn't it, Ian? Yeah. So thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Charlie.
Look forward to keeping you here for a number of years to come.
Hopefully.
And you guys watching will some of you have met Dan, and some of you no doubt will have the pleasure when you come for lessons at Mordor Gun Dogs, or you come and buy a dog from us. So thank you all for watching, and remember, you get out what you put in.